This is the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media, and we will liberate America from these villains once and for all.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about the outcome of this hush money trial in New York that we all knew from the beginning was rigged. Now, I was holding out hope that Trump would be acquitted or, maybe worst case scenario, a hung jury. However, that did not happen, okay? I was trying to stay positive about it because it seems as if Trump has been picking up W's lately, but hey, you can't pick up a W all the time. But this is not even really an L, in my opinion, to be quite honest with you. In fact, I think that this is going to backfire. So this is not a boohoo, whining, and crying, be sad type of video. This is a video to light a fire up under your ass and to make sure that you get out and that you vote, okay? Because our republic literally depends on it. And no, I'm not exaggerating the way that Democrats exaggerate. I'm so serious. All of the topics, all of the videos I've been covering lately, you guys see what the Democrats are trying to do, okay? They want to overthrow our republic. They want to take down the Supreme Court. They quite literally want to destroy the Supreme Court. And basically, this election is an election that will determine whether or not this country falls off the cliff completely into fascism, which is what the Democrat Party officially represents now that the Biden-led trials against Trump have now resulted in a rigged conviction because this trial was, in fact, rigged. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. It was rigged from the beginning. Again, I was holding out hope that maybe, just maybe, we have one guy hold out, maybe a couple guys actually do the right thing, but, hey, it is what it is. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and play a clip of Trump reacting to the guilty verdicts. And then I'm going to tell you guys what I expect to happen after this and how we should think about this. Because, again, this is not a boohoo, whining, and crying video. This is a, hey, our republic is on the line type of video. Take a look.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. You have a Soros-backed DA. And the whole thing, we didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now. This was done by the Biden administration in order to wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent. And I think it's just a disgrace. And we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end, and we'll win, because our country's gone to hell. We don't have the same country anymore. We have a divided mess. We're a nation in decline, serious decline. Millions and millions of people pouring into our country right now from prisons and from mental institutions, terrorists, and they're taking over our country. We have a country that's in big trouble. But this was a rigged decision right from day one with a conflicted judge who should have never been allowed to try this case, never. And we will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so you see, now you heard that. Obviously, it is not a good thing that the former president of the United States was convicted of these literally trumped up charges. It really is a crossing of the Rubicon kind of moment in American politics and American history, where you see the weaponization of the justice system against people like former President Trump who are not on the Democrat side of the political aisle, because that is what's happening. If his name was not Trump, if he was not Trump, he would not be going through what he's going through right now. I mean, if you look at how all of this came about, multiple people declined to go after this case, including the previous Manhattan DA. The feds declined to go out there. And now all of a sudden, Alvin Bragg runs on a campaign that, hey, I'm going to go after Trump. Biden's guy from the DOJ decides to join the Manhattan office. And all of a sudden, Trump is facing these charges that, again, nobody can really tell you exactly what the crime is, right? Nobody really knows what the crime is. And I don't even think the jury knew what the crime was, because they didn't even have to know what the crime was in order to convict him. All they had to do is just say, well, he committed some crime in regards to a plot to, falsify business records in order to affect the outcome of the election. The judge, jury instructions that were unprecedented, okay? Basically saying, listen, you guys don't all have to agree on what the crime was exactly. You just have to all agree that there was some crime that was committed here. Again, we don't know what the crime is, but, this is how our justice system is working in New York, right? We see that it is corrupt to the core, and the American people watch it. I mean, you already have 60% of Americans that believe that these trials against Trump are political. And a majority of Americans also believe that Biden's involved.
I don't think that he had a fair chance here in New York. I think that it was rigged from the beginning. I think that this was all a setup. They just don't want him running. They're very intimidated by him. And I think at the end, he's still going to win. Because
will this help Donald Trump in the long run?
100%. I wouldn't doubt he's raising millions and millions of dollars right now.
So I think that this is something that's going to backfire. In fact, it's already backfiring, because the GOP fundraising website, WinRed, went down because a record number of supporters went to the website to immediately start donating to Trump, which tells you the type of moment that this is, right? That a fire has been lit under the ashes of conservative America, of independent voters, of even some liberals who don't like the weaponization, because essentially that's what's happening here. It's very obvious.
Well, if my phone and the text messages I'm receiving are any indication, every Republican in the country is madder than a wet hen. I mean, people who are decidedly non-MAGA, not Trump fans, are blowing up tonight saying this case never should have been brought. This is ridiculous charges. It was egregious use of the criminal justice system. And I mean, I'm hearing people say, I had no intention of voting for Donald Trump, and now I am. And then if you ask the Trump campaign what's happening, they literally broke their online donation portal because people were rushing to the internet to give them money in the minutes after the verdict. So I think there's a real chance here. This is going to massively backfire on the Democrats and help Donald Trump.
Out of all of the charges against Trump, okay, whether it be the Jack Smith ones or the ones from Fannie Willis, this one right here was the one that was most obviously political. Okay, all of them are political, but this one really stood out. Everybody said, yeah, this is the least serious one. Okay, we don't even know if Trump is going to get jail time. Apparently, the sentencing is going to be July 11th, I believe, which is going to be a few days before the Republican National Convention, which, by the way, again, I think is a part of, again, rigging the process. Okay, they're going to sentence Trump right before the RNC. And who knows at this point? A lot of people say that, well, because it is Trump's first offense, he's, haven't done anything before, and it's nonviolent, he's unlikely to get prison time, even though he could be facing, more than 20 years in prison with all of these charges. He's probably not going to end up going to jail. But again, with the Democrat judge, unhinged, Judge Merchant, who knows, okay? He could end up trying to throw the book at Trump, which, again, would be something that's not very common in New York, okay? But, we see them going after Trump when they won't go after real criminals. So I wouldn't be surprised if the judge comes out and actually does try to send Trump to jail. If I was a judge, I probably wouldn't push my luck on that because, again, you're basically going to guarantee that Trump is going to win the election if they actually do sentence him to jail time and try to throw him in jail before the election. It realistically is not going to happen because Trump is going to appeal, and hopefully he'll be able to appeal all the way up to the Supreme Court. And I think that ultimately this will get overturned in a few years.
What are the odds of this on appeal for Trump?
I actually think they're pretty good because there are a number of significant issues of the way this trial was handled. And we don't talk about Donald Trump anymore. We talk about the defendant in the case and whether or not the judge did everything the judge was supposed to do to ensure a fair trial, uninfected by the outside world. And I've complained, Aaron, to you, that the idea that this jury wasn't sequestered, not even during their deliberations, not to mention for that week before between trial and closings, I think that's a massive mistake that an appellate court may say, this is going to happen. The defense is going to follow the trail of every one of these jurors when they find out who they are and how they are. where they drove, what they did, every billboard that they saw, all of that. And that's going to be the fodder for appeals that this jury was infected by negativity, that this judge didn't protect their client from. That's just one issue, and there are 100 we can talk about.
But as of this moment feels like the same moment that happened during the FBI Mar-a-Lago raid, right? You never forget where you were at when you heard the news that, wow, the FBI had just raided Mar-a-Lago. Okay, it was a pretty crazy moment. Okay, I'll never forget it. And this feels the same way. And after that, Trump's poll numbers went up dramatically. They haven't stopped going up since then. And maybe we see the same effect happen with this conviction. At least that's what I'm hoping, right? Because now we're in uncharted territory. There's been debate back and forth about whether or not a conviction will hurt Trump, whether it will help Trump. I'm inclined to think that it will help Trump. From everything that I'm seeing people who are independent who are saying, I don't even like Trump, but this is wrong. This is wrong, and this is now going to motivate me to support Trump. And quite honestly, considering how, when you look at the polls, Trump is absolutely dominating Biden when it comes to registered voters. Okay. However, where the election is closer is when it comes to likely voters or voters that vote consistently. That's where the election gets tight. So that suggests that Trump is going to need people who are motivated to come out and vote for him. Okay. And with this conviction, I hope that people who want to vote for Trump, who are not happy with the Biden economy, not happy with the state of the country, I hope that motivates people to get out and to vote. Because if you don't vote, they're going to send this man to jail. Okay? Because the other trials, even though they're not happening before the election, or most likely they're not going to happen before the election, you can already see how dead set the Democrats are on throwing Trump in jail. They want him in jail. And he has to win. He has to win in order to avoid that happening. So when you take a step back and you look at it from the perspective of where were we at the beginning of this year, again, this is not a terrible situation. In fact, again, considering where we were at the beginning of this year, this is honestly probably the second best case scenario for Trump, if you really think about it. Because at the beginning of the year, Trump was in a fight to stay on the ballots because you had these radical Democrats, these secretaries of their states trying to pull him off the ballot. You had the Fannie Willis charges, you had the Jack Smith charges, and you had these, okay, the Alvin Bragg charges. Now, fast forward 6 months later, he has successfully defeated the effort to keep him off the ballot. He has successfully delayed the Jack Smith trial and the Fannie Willis trial until after the election. Now, again, this one with Alvin Bragg, you know, hey, he got convicted, but this is the one that people cared about the least. So when you look at where we were at just 6 months ago, and what it looked like was going to happen just 6 months ago, we're talking about Trump being pulled off the ballot. We're talking about Trump being, possibly convicted of these January 6th charges and the RICO charges and all that stuff. I got to say, again, this is the second best case scenario. The best case scenario is that he has no convictions going into the election, right? That he was found not guilty. But since we couldn't get that, again, the second best scenario is that, well, these other trials are not happening. And the one that people really don't care about, the least serious one, okay, he was found guilty. But guess what? It's likely he's not going to jail. Definitely not going to happen before the election. And it motivates people to vote. It lets people know what's at stake, right? It's funny because when Roe v. Wade was overturned, nobody knew how much of an impact it would have on the 2022 midterms, right? Going into the 2022 midterms, I thought there would be a red wave, okay? Because historically, that is what happens during the midterms. However, that didn't happen because of the backlash, the sheer backlash from the young thotties of America when it comes to Roe v. Wade being overturned. So what you tend to see in politics is that when there's a shock to the system, like, for example, Roe v. Wade being overturned, or a former president being convicted of rigged charges against him, politically motivated charges, while he's running for president of the United States, that tends to cause a massive backlash that affects the election. And this is happening at right around the same time that Roe v. Wade was overturned in 2022. Okay, so it's happening now in 2024. We're in what, May, June? So now, people are upset, people are mad, and let's hope that that momentum is carried into the election. Again, I'm seeing a whole lot of people that were on the fence about Trump that are now saying, hey, you know what? I might not like the guy, but I got to go vote for him because of this. This is not right. What's happening in this country is not okay. Okay, we're turning into a banana republic. And the only way to really save our republic really is to go out and to vote for Trump. That's it. Because if you don't, this is going to become commonplace. When Democrats don't like their political opponent, they will bring up some fraudulent charges against them and have them thrown in jail. This will become the norm. So, again, I personally think that most likely this is going to backfire. But the only way to ensure that it backfires is that people have to get out and vote. People have to understand what really is at stake, okay? And again, I'm hoping that this conviction motivates people to go out and to vote for Trump and to get him over the finish line, right? I'm hoping that this has the same effect in regards to getting people motivated to support Trump, kind of the same way you saw when Roe v. Wade was overturned and that benefited Democrats. I'm hoping that this is a moment that benefits Republicans the same way that that benefited Democrats. So we're already seeing the backfiring happening, okay? Trump is getting massive donations, massive support from everybody, except the mainstream liberal media, of course. They're celebrating this. But I think that the celebration is premature because, again, the real verdict will come in November, right? When the American people actually vote. And again, let's hope that this creates the type of momentum that Trump needs to win in a landslide in order to send a message to the establishment and to the Democrats and to the media that we're not going to stand for this type of weaponization of the criminal justice system to jail political opponents simply because they don't agree with the far left agenda. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.